All right, sales call number 2 with the same person. Now, for those of you who are just watching just this video, this is a 2-part series. I have the first section where I do my initial discovery call with this person, and then I essentially convince them to get to this second stage call whereby I share my proposal and I break down my cost, the scope of work, the next steps, and all that good stuff. Now, straight off the bat, I don't want this to seem as though I'm telling you this is how you should be closing, because to be honest, I'm still learning myself. I'm using this for 2 reasons. One, for a personal record, so I can look back on all these things when I, look at my journey as an agency owner, and then also to kind of get a bit of feedback from you guys, and also, in my own egotistical, selfish way, build a little bit of a following. I mean, hey, fuck it, I'm vain, But anyway, this is the purpose of these videos, really. Those 3 reasons: vanity, personal record, and then helping other people. Probably in that order, to be honest. But nonetheless, let's jump into this. Also, actually, sorry, real quick before I start, my name is Gavin. I'm an email marketer. I run an email marketing agency, email and SMS marketing agency based out of New Zealand. We are called Inbox. It is in-box.co.nz. If you wanted to watch the first part of this video, just go ahead and go back onto my YouTube channel, and you should see it. It's the video that came out the week before this. So check that out. Otherwise, if you just want to watch this one, fantastic. Let's just go into it. So I've got a live recording here. I'll put that there, and I've muted or distorted the voice, concealed the face, and omitted anything that would allude to any sort of sensitive data or anything. So let's go. There we go. Anyway, how was the week so far?
It's all right. Bit of a shock for the system trying to get back into work, but otherwise fine.
Yeah, you properly back in now?
Yeah, properly. Yeah, pretty much. I got sent this fancy new keyboard by Apple.
Oh, let's go. So just a bit of banter straight off the bat, really. Just trying to, break the ice. Is it completely wireless? Do you do like illustrations and stuff?
But sometimes I just want to scribble something.
I'm trying to get better at keeping these calls in 30 minutes. As you can see here, kind of nailed it at 28:48. So I do spend a bit less time on the fluff side of things at the front and back end now.
And here we go. Nice. No, I'm good. I'm doing this right.
Easy. Well, hey, dude, I've gone ahead and put together a proposal, and it just kind of takes into consideration both your margins and everything like that. So I tried to make it work for both of us in this. So if you don't remember, last meeting he was talking about ensuring that we're actually going to be able to get a positive ROI for him, and that cash flow is a bit of an issue. So I had to price that accordingly while still being able to make some money for my own agency. So I'll just go ahead and I mentioned that, like, not necessarily making money from my own agency, but I mentioned the fact that things have been priced with those considerations in mind, which he highlighted to me. Go ahead and share my screen, and we can run through it together. If at any point you have any questions, just give me a shout and I'll stop. But yeah, I just really remember looking through your account and just focusing on the campaign aspect of things and how we're kind of lacking there. And I think that's where we can really drive the most amount of value from an investment perspective on your end, and then also dialing in 1 or 2 of the flows. Now, I did find a few issues with the flows, but I'll go into that, and I think that's something that we can kind of wrap into our overall service offering. But yeah, I'll just go ahead and dive on into it. I think here I really should have reiterated the pain points that he had. So he was talking about shortness of time, lack of skills, really, ensuring that he gets value, and just reiterating those before we go into the proposal, just to kind of highlight why he came to me in the first place. But, that's all good. So here we go. Basically, the areas of focus: campaigns and flows. So the current approach is campaigns is lacking in terms of presence, overall strategy, cadence. We really recommend building a monthly content calendar whereby at a rate of 2 emails per month with 2 DNO follow-ups, we begin targeting your existing database, which you said was roughly 5,000 people. And I looked in there, and I think it was like 5,800 or something like that.
It's
around about that. Now, DNO follow-ups are really just follow-ups to the database that hasn't opened the emails that we originally sent. So typically, you're actually going to get about it's spot on. Yeah. Dude, he knows. And then we have our flows as well, which is current approach to flows. Just need some additional refinement. I don't think we need to rebuild anything. You guys already have some stuff in there. Down the line, I definitely recommend expanding and restructuring some of them. But just for where you guys are at in terms of the numbers that you're doing, and obviously uh, where your dollars are best spent, I really recommend just optimizing the existing flows in terms of the logic, the filters, the time delays, and all of that good stuff. And I think a big example is actually the browse abandon flow. And feel free to check on this after. So here, I'm just essentially highlighting the two areas of work that we're going to be focusing on. And I'm also kind of laying some foundations for future work as well, saying, your money is best spent right now on optimizations rather than new flow builds. So I'm not shutting off the conversation for new flow builds, but I'm really reiterating that if you want to maximize your dollar spend right now, it's optimization and campaigns. The call, but the browse abandon flow is actually not set up correctly. And you'll notice typically this is one of the highest revenue generating flows that you're going to have in your kind of like your toolkit when it comes to email. And you're getting zero traffic in it, which is, definitely causing a drop off in sales. So that's just a classic example of an easy optimization we can kind of adjust, but we would recommend just us jumping in, optimizing everything, every single one of those, and also adding 2 additional emails to the abandoned cart flow to significantly increase revenue. I feel like here I've become a bit too detail orientated in terms of what we're going to do. I'm a big fan of Alex Hormozi, and he talks about how you really just want to be selling the holiday. So I think I should be reiterating how we can improve his flows, or the facts that we can improve his flows and what that's going to do for him, rather than how we're going to improve his flows. Same goes for the campaigns. And those are some quick wins. And that's how you're going to the flows is where the upfront investment comes in for just the long-term returns. And then the campaigns are where you can quickly do that print on demand kind of revenue generation there. The key outcomes, I'll kind of let you dive into this in your own time, to be honest. But I mean, increased customer. The key outcomes is just a little slide that I have that speaks to the areas of focus. So with campaigns, for example, we just want to improve and expand flows. These have improved and expanded flows. We expect to see an increase in total online sales. So the key outcome there being increased customer value retention. So increased customer retention and lifetime value. And then once again, compliance and deliverability, improved automation. I kind of like to hammer in on this improved compliance and deliverability section here because that's a real point of difference for us compared to a lot of other agencies. But that's just an email marketing thing, really. Retention and lifetime value, improved automation, and then compliance and deliverability. Just a quick point on the compliance and deliverability side of things. You're going to find, especially within the email space, is a lot of people, they know how to design an email, but then building it in a way that makes sure it looks good on every single browser is a totally different can of worms. And so with our software that we use, we have an internal software that we use where we test every single email for compliance as well as deliverability across every single email service provider as well as device. So Gmail displays emails different to Outlook, displays different emails different to Hotmail. We make sure they all look the same and look good, but we also make sure they all look the same and look good on different devices as well. So this is a point of difference, right? And I want to highlight that a lot of people don't do this. What you're going to get with us is that higher tiered checking, right? And to be honest, like the prices that we're charging, I'm charging him low. Like I'm, especially considering the fact that he is, savvy about, or he's concerned about the money being spent. And we come to that a little bit later, but I'm undercharging him what these services should be. But somebody will probably say, well, we shouldn't do that. And you're totally right. But I'm in a stage right now where I'm really just trying to build up referrals, and I want to build up some case studies for my agency because I'm still kind of new. And so I'm willing to somewhat compromise on quite price to get people through the door. I guarantee you in about 2 years, I'm going to hear myself say this and be like, you moron. But, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. So we really, that's definitely a point of difference between us and I think a lot of other service providers out there is we test everything and we're really trying to make sure that your emails are landing in that primary folder at the right time and then in the right inbox. Now, timeline. Obviously, we've got today, signed contract in an ideal world, deposit paid, admin access to accounts given, campaign strategy delivered. We can get that over to you in 2 days. And I'm only saying we start small with 2 campaigns just to kind of, for 1 month, just to kind of prove our value and show you the kind of numbers that we can drive. I create this timeline just to kind of iterate how quickly we can move and also to kind of build some urgency around his decision, you know? So sign contract today, you know, we could be done by the 19th, right? And the longer he waits, the more these kind of get pushed out. And to be honest, more often than not, these timelines don't really matter because a lot of the times they'll take more time to decide and things will pop up. I just like to use this as somewhat of an illustrative process for how quick we could potentially move if they wanted to sign on today. And, you know, if we don't really get the numbers that you guys are after, totally fine. We can just leave it there. But I do think uh, if implemented correctly, which we intend on doing, we can get a positive return on investment there. And then the flow ups are implemented, and then the first campaign is sent on the 19th. And then we'll stagger the next one out to come out 2 weeks after that. Case study, which we did with another client of ours. This really speaks to actually more of the flow up. I have a standard case study that I include in these proposals. I should have a case study that's a bit more relevant to them and their specific needs, but this actually did tie in quite nicely. However, it's very time consuming to put together individual case studies for each proposal. I think the next step forward would be building out 3 case studies, in-depth case studies that I can have featured on my website and then referencing those in the proposal documents. But at the moment, I just don't have the time. Optimization and flow build side of things rather than the campaign side of things, but we were really able to just increase their overall numbers just in terms of sales, click rates, engagements relative to both the previous year and the previous months by which we jumped into. I'll let you look at that in your own time there. But yeah, we essentially did exactly what we're proposing for you guys when it came to the flow side of things and really dialed in their overall strategy. And this guy was doing roughly $40,000 a month in sales just from email. So a much bigger client with a lot more variables that we were really able to tackle successfully. And then finally, yeah, so the price. I should have given him an opportunity to ask questions there before going on to the price, just to have any final opposition to be answered or any pain points or things that he's just not sure about tackled before we go on to this, which is the most important side of things. And obviously you can see my price breakdown. I valued it higher than what we're going to do it for him. And I just kind of want to get that, you know, feeling of having a discount. I should have also included some percentage off signs and indications here, but I didn't. So once again, this is all in consideration because I'm learning duration of kind of like your guys' budgets. But campaign management, which includes, you know, ideation, list segmentation, scripting, designing, and building of those emails. So we take over the whole process. We script, we design, we build with your seal of approval on it. Of course, nothing goes out without your say-so. We also do that testing and compliance. And then after that month, we'll just go ahead and give you a report showing all the important numbers, the data, the tracking, the optimizations that we can do with those campaigns. And that's the campaign side of things. And then the flow optimization, which includes the addition of 2 emails to the abandoned cart flow. So we'll script, build, design, and test all those, as well as adjusting the timing, the filters, conditional splits, and split tests for a period of 3 months within all of your flows. So we'll go into every single one of those flows and we'll run split tests within each of those flows for a period of 3 months. So we'll make an adjustment every month just to figure out what emails are getting the best open rates, what emails are getting the best click and conversion rates, and we'll monitor that for 3 months from the time that we implement it. So I feel like I should also have package names for these things, you know, like call it my campaign construction package and then my flow fire revenue, you know, just tacky things. But for some reason, there's a part of me that feels like being in New Zealand, it feels very American. And I've noticed that Kiwis don't really love those flashy in your face, you know, honk, honk. We'll make you, you know, the super package and stuff like that. You know, it feels kind of hack and cringe. So I just kind of steer away from it, but maybe something I should experiment with. I don't know. So even if you say, hey, let's go ahead and we're done with the campaign side of things, we'll still monitor the flows for 2 more months after that 1 month period with the campaigns. So campaign management, we can do for $400 per campaign, which is $800 monthly reoccurring. And then we can also do the flow optimizations for $400, which is just a one-off fee, coming to a total of $1,200 plus GST. And Now these prices are me like literally just scraping by. To be honest, I'm going to be upping these, but like I said, I just want to be building up my portfolio of clients. That would be the first month, and then after that, if you wanted to continue on with the campaign side of things at 2 campaigns per month, it would just be a reoccurring 800 plus GST
A month.
per month. Correct. Mm-hmm. And that would be 2 campaigns, 2 did not opens, reporting, emails designed, scripted, and we don't have a lock-in period either. We just need to have a 30-day notice period. So we're not going to say, 3-month minimum, 6-month minimum, or anything like that. Just as long as we have that 30-day notice, then we're good. And I'll give you this template, this proposal rather, from there. But yeah, next steps: contract, service fee, grant access to Klaviyo. We'll complete the onboarding from your end, and then we can just begin some work. Do you have any questions? So I like to include this slide just to kind of encourage the next action.
Yeah, well, it just comes down to return.
Just by that reaction that he's not sold, right? So there's still something I need to do.
Really?
Yeah. So I actually did a quick calculation at 75%. So he was talking about it needs to be worthwhile, right? And he gave me his profit margins, which I was able to calculate how much money he would need to make from email in order to justify our cost. Profit margin, you need to generate an additional $1,109 to break even. Now, with the rate that your lists are growing, and with how things currently stand with your flows, I don't want to make any guarantees here because I don't know like the health of your list. Like I don't know how long those people have been sitting in there uncontacted or anything like that. But I think with the optimizations we make to your flows, I think we can get that flow revenue up from $500 to roughly $700-800 a month, assuming your traffic continues to grow from your website. Like we can't control, the external sources in terms of like SEO, Facebook ads. So we can only deal with the database that we have. But if that database continues to grow, we can optimize the flows and probably get that revenue number up. And then from the campaigns, I would like to see roughly $600 to $800 to $900 of revenue being generated from there, which leaves you guys $300, I believe, in revenue from there, which at a profit of 800, you'd be making 320 off the top of my head. So that calculation was wrong, but nonetheless, I've essentially told him, right, that spending money on my service is going to make you money. So he should be good, right? Like this, I didn't fully understand like what the resistance was, right? Because it was like, I'm telling you that it's gonna pay for itself. So we're good, right?
Clear, like, so.
But there's still hesitation.
Okay.
I was quiet here. I really didn't want to speak. I just wanted to let him sit in it.
Just run me those numbers again quickly. So what, off our flows, what did you find that we were getting at the moment?
Yeah, let me just jump in real quick from the top of my head to learn a little bit more. Bear with me here. So let me see. I'm gonna jump ahead a little bit.
Just looking at the down and cut.
Back. So here we just kind of get into specifics, right? Like really breaking down how we're going to make him extra money in his order and kind of removing that. 70 is kind of what you've done in the last 30 days from Klaviyo. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So from flows, with the adjustments that I'm recommending we make, I think we can boost those. I don't know what's your 90-day average look like. Let's see what that looks like. 90 days, yeah. So your 90 days is a bit more reflective of that, right? So your campaigns sitting at 10% there. So your campaigns generate good numbers. This is the thing. Like when campaigns are implemented, you're doing good numbers. Like if you go to 90 days performance, campaigns have generated 5K for you.
Yeah, that might be a little skewed for the season, and I wonder if we can drill down into which campaigns are driving that, because it might have been like a wholesale Christmas like push. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you. Give me one sec. Let's go to 90 days.
You're doing that under analytics again, right? Any number?
I'm going to campaigns now, and then I'm going. How about I share my screen? Be a lot easier.
Yeah.
So here, I'm just breaking down numbers even more.
Hand over to double up.
Yeah. You see?
That did
So
pretty
this
well.
one with a bit more effective target. And
Are you a registered?
so now we end up having a conversation in regards to how we could potentially pay for it. There's some kind of funding deal he's looking at. Essentially, the issue he's explaining to me is cash flow, right? Or the fact that he doesn't have the money right now and he's trying to get it for as cheap as possible. I'm not going to budge on my price. Like, I'm not going any further down. What I am willing to negotiate with him a tiny bit is like into terms of payment, which I think you'll find somewhere along here. I'm just going to skip ahead a little bit because we just have a bit of back and forth in regards to.
It worked a lot better.
Totally, and I mean that's what my copy.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
That's what concerns me a little bit, because it's all well and good, but maybe it is that only we can write them. But where I see value is the structure and the consistency of getting it done. And then if it's like I need like you just put it together, and then it's like I need you to adjust and approve that copy, and then I go blah, 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 and I'd spend 5 minutes, and I just. What do you mean?
Yeah, but that's honestly that's exactly how we do it. So sorry, I might not. He was highlighting an issue with tone of voice. He wanted to make sure that we get the right tone of voice for his brand, which is something we ensure. Which I clarified with him before, but I think you might have forgotten. And this is what I speak to now. I made that clear initially. So
yeah, I think you did. Yeah.
Scripting. We pass the scripting over to you. You say yes or no. Give it your own touch, and then you give it back to us. Then we take that scripting, we implement it into your campaigns. Then we give you the campaigns. You say yes or no, and then we go ahead and send it. So nothing goes out without your approval. You're going to have your tone of voice in there. Also, you're going to get the same copywriter the whole time you're working with us. So you get a dedicated copywriter. They're going to be somebody who's learning your tone of voice as time goes on, right? It's really just massaging a concern away for him.
Trying to pay this deposit for a piece of land this month.
Yeah, nice. So there he just highlighted an issue with, cash flow. Would you? We can set you up on a payment plan if you like. We could do a 50% deposit up front, followed by a 50% upon completion. Not something I really want to do, but for the first month's worth of work, I'm happy for him just to hit this 50% up front, 50% deposit once completed. And I would like to think we do a really good job at our agency, so I'm fairly confident that the work that we deliver to him will be like good enough for him to say, yep, cool, we'll continue on, and here's the straight up cash. And that means you'd be, what's that, 700 plus GST. And then I believe the revenue from the campaigns that we generate for you would easily push you into that. Now, I don't know what your clearance, like how long it takes for money to clear from your accounts and everything like that. But happy to kind of give you some wiggle room just in terms of the deposit and the payment process.
Yeah. Yeah, sounds good, man. I'm tempted to see.
So a bit more resistance here. Like, yeah, maybe, which, at this point I'm starting to be like, okay, well, clearly there's something else.
Just check with the guy from Regional Business Partners and see what is available.
Sure.
Because that could be free money.
Yeah, totally.
And it may be this may be a real win for you as well. If you can.
So he's just talking about setting up a payment plan with a regional business provider, which is a whole other process. He's essentially just pushing it off. Jump forward a little bit.
Funding.
Got you.
Get something. So it's quite a.
I think, listen, as far as the cash flow goes, like, I don't think, just from my perspective, it's going to be a huge issue, just because the campaigns that we send out, 2 campaigns, I would expect to do at least, the very least, $800 in revenue, which is our service fee. I expect us to do roughly $1,000 in revenue from our service, from the 2 campaigns we send out, right? That's going to cost you off of both campaigns, about 2 campaigns, right? And then I expect the revenue from the flows to increase as well in proportionate to the optimizations we do. So I would expect to see the flow revenue and the campaign revenue really in that first month eat up the cost that it costs to bring us on board.
In the first month, you reckon?
Yeah. Well, the 2 campaigns we send out, like, just looking at your previous track record, the 2 campaigns that you guys are sending, looks like the lowest was $386. So here, because I reiterate again, we're going to drive value and there's still some resistance. I should have had, and I will have going forward, some kind of supplementary offer that I can offer them. I could say something like, hey, listen, we can chuck in a $600 reporting package if you're willing to sign today, free of charge. I didn't have any of that stuff prepared, mainly because I've only got 2 offers that I can really work on. So to have something that's really easy for me to do, that I can just chuck into the meeting and be like, hey, listen, we're happy to chuck in an extra campaign, extra $100, or for free of charge, and hopefully that'll push them over the edge, right? Just to make, because the resistance here is value. He's trying to make sure he's getting enough value. And even though I'm explaining it to him numerically, there's still something there. Like I'm saying, we're going to get the investment that you put down back. Like it's coming back. Don't worry. But there's still something there. So he clearly doesn't believe that, right? Or maybe he legitimately does have like a cash flow issue, which to be honest, I found somewhat hard to believe, because looking at the revenue that he was doing within his account, that didn't quite line up. And I'm fairly certain, which is why I was pushing it. That was from retail, looking at the campaigns.
Yep. So that was but that was time.
Gonna jump ahead a little bit more. Come to this, but alternatively, if you wanted, we could just start with the flow ups, right? We could just jump in, optimize. So in lieu of having an extra package, I essentially say, hey, we can start smaller. We can do one portion of this proposal instead of the full thing. Where we can do that, optimize accordingly. Just for that $400 fee, we can optimize everything, and that can tick away in the background. And then once we hear back from the regional development guy, we can then follow into the campaigns. And that way the campaigns filter into the optimized flows that have been, tweaked to really drive as much revenue as possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that does sound like a good idea. So if we did do that, you optimize the flows. Would there be any? Would you redesign the flows as well? The email thing.
So no, just technical optimizations to flow logic, timing, split testing, and then we'll add 2 additional emails to your abandoned cart flow, and then we'll also ensure your browse abandoned flow starts working as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
And okay, it's hard to say what revenue you expect to come off that, though, right?
Yeah, it'll increase it. Like your browse abandoned will generate similar numbers to your abandoned cart, slightly less, usually like 5-10% less total revenue is what we expect to see. But it'll pay for itself. Once again, it's just a matter of time, really.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm worried about putting the money together for this deposit. I haven't quite got enough yet.
Sure, that's fine. Well, how about we hope fire?
I quite like that idea.
Mm-hmm.
I quite like the idea of the whole thing, to be honest, because I would love to just shove it over to you and you just do it.
Yeah.
And as soon as we're turning a profit, you just unleash and you can just go nuts.
Yeah.
To turn a profit, I just want you to do as much as you can.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Well, okay. I think I'm pretty flexible, as you can see. But I want to make sure it works for you guys. So why don't we, next steps from here is let's get in touch with this regional development guy, but also I think a good investment for your guys' business would be scraping together that deposit and just trying to drive some revenue from email with the strategies that we've kind of highlighted. And we're ready to work when you guys are. We have availability for January. February is looking a bit packed. So I'm just trying to build a bit of urgency there, saying, yep, February is looking a bit busy, but we can get you started real soon, But you notice I'm like, well, next steps, why don't we wait to hear back from this guy? I'm kind of like letting him off the hook a little bit. I should have gotten a firm no, because he's kind of saying yes, but he's not stamping it down. So it would be good to kind of get you in the front of the queue there.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Let me just go and think, and then I'll send an email to the regional business partners guy, see if there's anything available there.
Cool.
And then we'll.
So that honestly, that's pretty much it. He wanted to go away and think, and I was like, yep, totally fine. I'll wait to hear back from you on Friday, which is in 2 days' time, which is actually the day of recording of this. I have not heard anything back from him. I sent him an email. I think there's a real chance that we can still close this guy. I should have gotten the close there, though. I didn't push hard enough, but I'm also like so uncomfortable pushing somebody into doing something that they're not super keen on doing, right? Because there's clearly a bit of resistance. But it's kind of like the great analogy is like it's like a doctor, right? If you're a doctor and you know you can help somebody, which is me, I'm an email marketer, I know I can help their business. I should do everything I can to convince them to do the right thing, even if they don't want it. If I'm going to help them and I'm doing the right thing, I should convince them as much as I can. It's like a doctor saying, you need medicine for this. Anyway, that's the end of my video. Any questions, shoot me a message. If you like it, subscribe, smash the like button, all that. Cheers. Bye.